What a match.
Yeah, baby.
So good. I just got finished watching Netherlands 2, Japan 2, and that so far is the game of the tournament. Absolute banger, absolute cinema, and we got to get straight into it. Like, subscribe, all the good algorithm stuff. Let's get straight to it. If you don't know, maybe this could be your first video you're watching of me. I cover a little bit of the J.League on this channel too. Really exciting league, and I want to root for Japan as one of the USA I'm rooting for first, but Japan is one of the teams I want to see do well in this tournament because I want to see the growth of Japanese soccer, football, but they also call it soccer to be fair. So Japanese soccer, and they have their whole 100-year plan that Japan will win the World Cup, and the growth of their team over the years, and to go toe to toe with the Netherlands, which is a historic nation in the sport. It's amazing. It's amazing to watch. And you could honestly say Japan with a better team. Now, if you look at the numbers here, like Netherlands had a lot of momentum, they had more possession, whatever. If you watch the game and you look at just attacking quality, Japan were the better team. And even if you want to say look at defensive shape, obviously the Netherlands had leads to defend, so it was a bit simpler for them. But they weren't. Japan was not easy to break down for the Netherlands. Japan's defensive shape is really solid. Obviously, the big thing that was over looming this game that I completely forgot to take into account, even with my predictions and going into this tournament, was the height difference with Japan and the Netherlands, and even probably is going to be similar when they come up against. I think Sweden is also in their group. Let me check real quick. Yeah, they have Tunisia, and then they have Sweden. That Sweden game is going to be tough too in terms of the height difference, but in this game, it was so apparent. You could tell anytime the Netherlands swung a ball in, they were going to win the 50-50. Japan swinging balls in, it just wasn't working out. And both teams had early chances. Suzuki was really solid in that, looking at the lineup. He was really solid, made some big saves in that first half. Japan, I think it was Daniel Malin, had multiple opportunities from corners in the first half, and Suzuki was equal to all of them. Even Daniel Malin had a chance really early in the game, like in the first 10 minutes, and Suzuki made a big save on that. He was solid at in net for Japan. And you could say maybe Netherlands should have grabbed one. Maybe you could say that, but Japan going the other way, were carving Netherlands up at times. Nakamura, who for me, I was saying going into this tournament, he's playing in Ligue 2 out in France. This guy could get a massive move after this summer, in my opinion. And for him, this was a big game to start the tournament. I was saying if he has a good tournament, he could go, hey man, he could go so far because for his price tag, which is going to be not that much coming out of League Day, he's 25. He could really go play for mid-table Prem side probably right now, if I'm being honest. But he was solid this game. He had a chance in the first half that he probably should have put on target. It wasn't the easiest chance ever, but it went just wide. And the first half, though, despite me saying all of that, wasn't amazing. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't amazing. For how much this game was hyped up, that first half, it was, some people can say it's a snooze fest. It had its moments. It wasn't amazing. But the second half, you could tell from the jump, it was going to be cinema. The Dutch came out on fire. You could tell, I guess Coleman gave them a good talking to at halftime. They came out springy, ready to go, and early chances. Gravenberch for me, where is he in this lineup? Gravenberch for me, yeah. He even got man of the match on FootMob. Gravenberch for me was class, absolute class. I think that man of the match is actually deserved. On the ball, he's just so press resistant. No one could really get near him. And then that ball he whips in for Van Dijk. To be fair, I'm not gonna make it seem like it was just a ball. It was an amazing ball, but Van Dijk, the header was class. I thought it was going wide. That's how much he picked out the corner, and then it hits off the post and back in, unsavable for Suzuki. That's the thing for Suzuki. I think he has such a great game because even though he conceded 2 goals, you can see his rating. Because the 2 goals he conceded, honestly, were kind of unsavable in my opinion. They were really out of reach, and he went full stretch for them. But yeah, Gravenberch for me, well deserved, 2 assists, really good game from him. Van Dijk and Van Hecke, they were both solid, and obviously Van Dijk got the goal, so his rating's higher. But Van Hecke in defense was really good. I thought honestly he might have been better than Van Dijk defensively. De Jong, as always, just getting what he has to do done. 69 out of 73 passes. I mean, the guy's a joke. But Reinders, not surprised he got hooked. He was kind of non-existent in this game. Gakpo, as usual, cut inside Merchant every time. And honestly, it was disappointing for me. Doan was having to cover him a lot because of this system where they drop in defensively. And he was getting beat by Gakpo a lot. But I'm not going to lie, if you see the scouting report, Gakpo is a very straightforward player. Maybe it's easier said than done to actually defend it, and he's always better for the Netherlands than he is for Liverpool, to be fair. But he's gonna cut inside. That's his game. He loves it, and he had some good chances with that. Malen, other than some chances in the first half, wasn't amazing. Summerville, though, we'll get to him in just a second. But first, after that first goal from Van Dijk, I was a bit worried. It was like now the Dutch are going to live off their defense, which everyone knew coming into the tournament. That's their key card. Their, what's that word called? Not key card. It's their calling card. Calling card is the phrase. And it's going to be GG's if they can just sit back on this. But Japan never let up. And you knew first half, the reason why the first half was a little sloppy, because you knew Japan would settle for a draw. So they weren't really willing to give up their shape in the first half to go get that goal. Once they went down, they had to go for it. And the Japanese fans were amazing the entire game. You hear the drums going. And Nakamura, the guy I was looking at as a key player. Obviously, everyone knows Kubo. Kubo is a great player. But Nakamura, I think, was being slept on coming into this tournament. He gets the ball. First of all, it's Kubo who gets the ball, who stands up as defender, cuts inside, makes something happen, gets the ball to Nakamura, who then takes a touch, and then just rips one from the edge of the area. I think it takes a little deflection off of Van Hecke, so maybe unfortunate for him there. But at the same time, you could also maybe argue that should have been saved from Verbruggen. You can maybe make that argument, but we'll get to him later too, especially. But all of a sudden, Japan are back in it. But then Summerville, who's kind of playing out of position, actually. I think he usually plays on the left for West Ham. He gets a ball from Gravenberch, and Gravenberch, who, of course, again, on the ball, amazing. Skips past weaves through a couple defenders, gets the ball out to Summerville, and then Summerville cuts inside and whips one, kind of just passes it, but a little pace on it, into that far corner. Nearly unsavable for Suzuki. And then the Dutch really, you could tell that point in time, let's park the plane. We're gonna leave here with the 3 points. They bring on Depay from Malen. Depay was, not gonna lie, Memphis Depay in 2026. When I heard he was going for the Dutch team, and of course he's the all-time scorer, I was like, let's see what he still has. That was not convincing. How old is he now? 32. It's not the oldest, but that performance when he came on was poor for me. It wasn't great. They bring on Coop Miners for Summerville. Kind of an interesting choice when he just scored the goal and he was making things happen, but okay, they really look like they're trying to set up to defend, and maybe you could let Dumfries overlap him. And then they were in Timber for Reinders. That makes sense. Reinders wasn't great. And then also Ake for Gravenberch. So then they're really sitting back. You could tell they were just going to completely try to see that game out. And for the most part, you would think it was going to happen. Obviously, Kubo got injured in the game. Hopefully, that's not nothing serious. So I was starting to get worried. I was like, okay, Kubo out. It's kind of going to get rough in terms of creating chances. But the introduction of Junya Ito, the introduction of Ogawa, Tomiyasu, I wasn't loving. I'm not gonna lie. Tomiyasu wasn't the best for me because he just started whipping in crosses that weren't going anywhere, and that's where I was starting to get frustrated because it seemed like the plan was to get a cross in, and Japan were losing every header because you're whipping it into Van Dijk and Van Hecke constantly, even Ake. How are they gonna win anything off of that? They had a couple opportunities where Ito on the right was making things happen. He was solid. Some balls through. from Kamada, and they were just low key carving up the Dutch defense when they kept it on the ground. Had some low crosses that almost something happened there, and I thought they were going to get something from that, but then they just went back to the crosses, and I was like, damn, might actually see this game out for the Dutch. But finally, in the last moments, a corner, and I'm seeing a corner. Well, last moments of the 90, I should say, but at that point, it's feeling like the last moments. I'm seeing a corner, and I'm wondering, this is gonna be another one that Van Dijk heads out or something, and then we go again and try to get something to happen. But Ogawa absolutely dunks on Virgil van Dijk, which for me, that should never be happening if I'm Van Dijk. He just completely times it wrong where he's going down while Ogawa's still going up. And that's a poster for the ages right there. He gets the header off. It takes a little deflection off of Kamada. And hey man, for Bruggen, you could honestly argue he should do better there. He gets two hands to it. He should probably keep that out. But I guess maybe the pace off the deflection was too much to deal with. I don't know. But even after that, I was hoping Japan would go get the winner. But then you see the Dutch really start to turn it on again and try to make something happen. They're not able to get it done, and Japan eventually just decides to see it out, take the point. And that honestly, that's a massive point because the Netherlands are the favorites in the group. I know a lot of people have Japan as a dark horse, but this is a game on paper they should be losing because the Netherlands are the favorites. But this group is, to be fair, relatively even. So I think a point here is massive. Go to that game against Tunisia. Try to, not try. That's a must-win game. They have to win that game because Sweden, you don't know what's going to happen in that game. You have to win. A point against the Netherlands and a win against Tunisia should see you through at minimum the third place team. But that should also probably get you second. And see what happens from there. But what a game! Definitely, it's going to be hard for a group stage game to top that. But we have plenty more to go, so hopefully something does top that. But that was a lot of fun to watch, and let's go. Hey man, like I said at the top, I want to see Japan do well in this tournament. So keep it up. Big performance. And Netherlands, not gonna lie, Koeman, you kind of fumbled that one. I think you guys could have got a third goal if you kept going for it because you had the height. You really could have made something happen there, and he kind of just conceded the game, unfortunately, for the Dutch. And that wasn't too convincing. I still think the Dutch could do something. They were mentioning during the game, and a good point, their defense is solid enough that they don't have to score a ton to win games. At least you would have thought. At least you would have thought. But Japan scoring two against them is a bit worrying for their prospects moving forward. We'll see how that looks against Sweden for them up next. But hey man, great game, like I said, and more fun games to come, hopefully. Like, subscribe, all the good algorithm stuff. Let's go. Other teams I'm supporting, USA, big win. Japan, not a win, but the comeback felt monumental. So far, the teams I'm supporting are doing well. See you next time. Peace.